Imagine waking up on January 1st, 2025, and realizing that for millions of people around the world, it's not 2025 at all. What if I told you that the year isn't 2025, but 2082 for millions of people? You might think I'm talking about some obscure futuristic vision or a glitch in the matrix. But no, I'm referring to Nepal, a country nestled between India and China where the year is currently 2082 BS. This might seem like a baffling peculiarity, but trust me, it's just the tip of the iceberg. In this exploration of Nepal's unique calendar system, we'll uncover why they have two separate years and what it reveals about their deep connection to nature. So buckle up, because it's going to be one hell of a ride. Nepal is one of those places where time doesn't just exist in the same way as in much of the rest of the world. In fact, the Nepali calendar is ahead of the Gregorian calendar by a whole 57 years. But let's be clear, this isn't just about different years. There's a rich, deep history behind it, and a lot of practical reasons why Nepali people keep time this way. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe for more such awesome videos. Our journey begins in the heart of the Himalayas. Nepal, a land renowned for its breathtaking landscapes and home to Mount Everest, also holds a fascinating secret that might leave you scratching your head. Their calendar suggests that the year 2025 is not the new year, but rather an ordinary day in 2082. You heard that right. For Nepalis, 2025 doesn't mark the start of a new year. Instead, it's simply the 8th day of the month of Math in the year 2082 BS. Now let's try to understand the basis of this intriguing difference. To unravel this mystery, we'll need to dive into Bikram Sambat, the traditional Nepali calendar. But before we do that, let's take a moment to acknowledge that there's more than one way to keep time. Different cultures around the world have developed unique calendars that reflect their values and relationship with the natural world. The Bikram Sambat, or Vikram Sambat, is one such calendar that has stood the test of time. Originating in ancient India, this lunisolar calendar has been used in Nepal for centuries and continues to be the primary calendar used in daily life. So why does Nepal use a different calendar? The answer lies in history. The Vikram Sambat calendar is named after the legendary King Vikramaditya, who is said to have reigned in the 4th century CE. According to Hindu mythology, he defeated the demon King Bali and established peace and prosperity in the land. To commemorate this victory, a new era was established, marking the beginning of the Vikram Sambat calendar. In Nepal, this era is still used alongside the Gregorian calendar, which is widely accepted internationally. It's important to note that while Nepal uses two calendars, only one is active at a time. For example, the Gregorian calendar is typically used for official government purposes and international transactions, while the Vikram Sambat calendar is primarily used for religious and social events. If you were planning a trip to Nepal, you would want to be aware of both calendars to ensure you don't miss any important festivals or events. And no, they don't celebrate New Year's twice. They simply continue celebrating as per their calendar. But you may be wondering, how can two calendars be active simultaneously without causing confusion? That's an excellent question. To understand how Nepalis keep track of time, we must first learn how they converted from one calendar to another. When communicating with the outside world, Nepalis typically use the Gregorian calendar for international purposes such as travel, trade, or communication with foreign countries. However, in everyday life, they continue to use the Bikram Sambat calendar. This means that while both calendars are recognized, they are used for different purposes. One way to convert between these two calendars is to subtract 5,778 from the Bikram Sambat year to get the corresponding Gregorian year. For example, 2082 BS minus 5,778 equals 2025 AD. Keep in mind that this conversion doesn't align the months or days of the week. It simply provides a rough equivalent in terms of the year. For instance, the month of Math in Bikram Sambat, which corresponds to mid-January to mid-February in the Gregorian calendar, is considered the new year for Nepalis. Therefore, when someone says that it's 2082 in Nepal, they are referring to the Bikram Sambat year. Now let's look at how Nepalis keep track of time throughout the day. Just like most cultures, they divide the day into 24 hours starting at midnight. Within each hour, there are 60 minutes and 60 seconds as usual. However, the real difference comes down to their choice of calendar. In essence, while they follow similar timekeeping conventions as the rest of the world. It's the calendar that determines whether it's morning, noon, or night. If someone tells you that it's 10 a.m. in Nepal, you can be sure that it's indeed 10 a.m. according to their local calendar. The months in the Bikram Sambat calendar are also quite interesting. They are named after various natural phenomena and cycles that occurred during those months. For example, the month of Baisakh, which falls around mid-April to mid-May, is named after the vernal equinox when day and night are of equal length. Similarly, the month of Ashar marked by heavy rainfall is called So because it signifies the beginning of the rainy season. This calendar system reflects a deep connection to nature and the natural cycles that influence daily life. It's worth noting that even within Nepal, the use of the Vikram Sambat calendar can vary among different communities. Some groups, such as the Newars, have their own unique calendars that are slightly different from the Vikram Sambat calendar. Additionally, the Vikram Sambat calendar has also been influenced by other cultures, particularly Indian and Tibetan influences due to Nepal's geographical location and historical interactions with these cultures. The months in the Bikram Sambat calendar are also quite interesting. They are named after various natural phenomena and cycles that occurred during those months. For example, the month of Baisakh, which falls around mid-April to mid-May, is named after the vernal equinox when day and night are of equal length. Similarly, the month of Ashar marked by heavy rainfall is called So because it signifies the beginning of the rainy season. This calendar system reflects a deep connection to nature and the natural cycles that influence daily life. One great example of this connection to nature is Baisakh, the first month of the Bikram Sambat calendar. Falling around mid-April to mid-May, it aligns with the vernal equinox, the moment in the year when day and night are of equal length. This isn't just an arbitrary choice, it symbolizes balance. For the people of Nepal, who live so closely with nature, it marks the time of year when everything begins anew. The soil is fertile, the rivers run strong, and the air is fresh with the promise of growth. For many Nepali families, this is the beginning of their farming cycle, a time when they begin planting seeds for the year's crops. Then, there's Ashar, which falls roughly between June and July. During this month, Nepal begins to experience its monsoon rains, a period of intense rainfall that can last for several weeks. The naming of this month isn't just a coincidence. It's a direct reflection of nature's rhythm. The rain is so crucial to the agricultural cycle in Nepal that Ashar's rains are not just a weather event, but an essential part of the country's life cycle. It marks the start of the growing season, where fields are flooded and crops like rice begin to thrive. The rain isn't just a change in weather. It's a moment that ties the people of Nepal to the land, their livelihoods, and the seasons. Another month in the calendar that reflects nature's rhythm is Magh, which typically falls in January and February. During this time, the weather in Nepal is cool, dry, and crisp. It's the time when the harvest season reaches its peak, and people begin to reap what they've sown. Magh also marks the midwinter in Nepal, so it is a time of reflection, of looking back on the year's work, and of appreciating the bounty nature has provided. The month's name ties directly to the cultural significance of the time and the spiritual meaning of harvest, making it far more than just a cold month in a number system. What makes the Bikram Sambat calendar even more fascinating is how these natural cycles influence the way the people of Nepal live their lives. Whether it's planning agricultural activities, observing religious events, or simply marking the changing of the seasons, the Bikram Sambat offers a deeper connection to the world around them. Different communities, different approaches. It's important to note that even within Nepal, the use of the Bikram Sambat calendar can differ. Nepal is a country full of diversity, and that diversity is reflected in the way time is measured. Various ethnic communities across the country have their own ways of understanding and marking time, and some of them even have slightly different calendars than the traditional Bikram Sambat. Take the Newar community, for example. The Newars, an indigenous group from the Kathmandu Valley, follow a calendar that's similar to the Bikram Sambat, but it has its own peculiarities. The Newar calendar is more closely aligned with the lunar cycle, making it a lunisolar calendar, and it differs by a year or so from the traditional Bikram Sambat. The Newar calendar, like the Bikram Sambat, also aligns with natural events, but it's more tuned to the agricultural season specific to the Kathmandu Valley. The Newar calendar also has distinct festivals, such as Nepal Sambat, which marks the new year for the Newar community and is celebrated with unique rituals, music, and community events. The Bikram Sambat is still the most widely used calendar system in Nepal, but these community variations highlight the country's rich cultural diversity. Nepal's society has long been influenced by various ethnic groups, and each group brings its own customs, calendars, and ways of measuring time. This interplay of systems adds richness and variety to Nepal's cultural heritage, creating a fascinating mosaic of traditions and practices. In addition to community-specific variations, the Bikram Sambat calendar has also been influenced by historical and cultural interactions with neighboring countries. Nepal's position between India and Tibet has exposed it to various cultural influences, and over time, these influences have shaped Nepal's way of tracking time. Let's take a moment to think about Nepal, not just a country, but a cultural crossroads. We've got India, Tibet, and Nepal's own unique traditions, all weaving their influence into the fabric of the Bikram Sambat. It's like a great big cultural buffet where each influence adds a little spice to the mix. So, let's dive in and see what makes this calendar so special. When you look at the Bikram Sambat, you can see India's influence right away. If Nepal were a family, India would be that neighbor who's always popping by, offering advice, and occasionally suggesting a new yoga position or festival. And honestly, Nepal and India go way back, like two peas in a spiritual pod. These countries have shared cultural, philosophical, and religious roots for centuries. So, it's no surprise that the Bikram Sambat calendar has some serious Hindu vibes. Let's start with the lunar phases. You know those colorful festivals like Dashain, Tahar, and Holi? Well, those aren't just random holidays where you throw powder around, though I highly recommend that part because it's fun. They're deeply tied to the lunar cycle, which makes the Bikram Sambat calendar pretty handy for tracking them. You see, these festivals don't happen just on any random day. They're based on the moon's movements. And if you think about it, Hindu culture and the Bikram Sambat calendar share a bond that goes way beyond just marking the days. It's like the moon is the VIP guest at these festivals, arriving on its special day to join the celebration. For instance, Dashain, a festival similar to Diwali in India, is like the ultimate family reunion, complete with blessings, feasts, and the all-important blessing from elders ceremony. It's celebrated in Bikram Sambat with grand reverence, aligning with lunar cycles to make sure everyone's timing is perfect for the traditional rituals. So, when the lunar phases line up, Nepal rolls out the festivities in full swing, with families gathering and, of course, food being served in abundance. And let us not forget about Holi, that festival where you throw paint at each other and pretend you're not guilty of making a mess. Well, it's all part of the plan. Holi follows a specific lunar phase and is celebrated with massive bonfires, vibrant colors, and an overwhelming sense of fun. This is more than just a color war. It's a celebration of the return of spring, the triumph of good over evil, and, of course, making memories you might not remember, but that's okay. So, while you might be marking the calendar for Christmas, Nepal's calendar is preparing for Tahar or Dashain, where fireworks, family time, and a whole lot of food come into play. The Bikram Sambat calendar is basically your timekeeper for all the good stuff. Now, we can't ignore the Tibetan influence. It's like the spiritual cousin who lives up in the mountains, practices meditation, and occasionally passes down nuggets of wisdom that totally change your perspective on life and time. Nepal and Tibet have had strong ties for centuries, and that connection has made its way into Nepal's calendar system. You see, Tibet has its own lunar calendar, and while it's not exactly the same as the Bikram Sambat, it shares common principles. A lot of Nepali Buddhist festivals are celebrated according to the Tibetan lunar calendar. This means that while Nepal uses its own system to mark time, it's also borrowing aspects from its neighbor to the north, enriching the calendar even further. For example, let's talk about Losar, the Nepali New Year. It's celebrated according to the Tibetan lunar calendar, but it's also adapted into the Bikram Sambat, depending on the year. It's like Nepali New Year is a blend of all things spiritual, drawing on both Hindu and Buddhist traditions. It's celebrated with a big bang, dances, food, and performances that make you feel like you've stepped into a time warp of cultural brilliance. The influence of Tibetan Buddhism also impacts the philosophy behind the calendar. It's not just about marking days, but about aligning time with spirituality. The moon phases are more than just dates. They're symbols of impermanence, of transformation, and of the flow of time. The Tibetans have this incredible view of time. They see it as a cycle, not a straight line. This mindset has seeped into the way Nepal marks time, making the Bikram Sambat a lot more than a tool for planning your dentist appointments. So here's the thing. Nepal didn't just pick a calendar off a shelf somewhere. Its calendar is a product of history, culture, and philosophy that's been baking for centuries. It's like a delicious spiritual pie with a perfect blend of Hindu, Buddhist, Indian, and Tibetan flavors, all brought together in a way that can only be described as Nepalese. What makes the Bikram Sambat calendar truly fascinating is how Nepal uses it to understand time. While we're all busy looking at our smartphones, checking out the Gregorian calendar, and wondering when the next holiday is, Nepalis are marking time in a way that connects them to the land and the cosmos. It's not just about counting hours and minutes. It's about finding meaning in the movement of the planets, the changing seasons, and the cycles of the moon. If you think about it, Nepal has the ultimate time flex. While most of the world is bound to the Gregorian calendar, Nepal's Bikram Sambat doesn't just follow a secular system. It's a living testament to the wisdom of ancient cultures. The Bikram Sambat calendar ties people to their heritage, identity, and spirituality. It connects them to their ancestors who were keenly aware of the natural world and its cycles. So, for Nepali people, the calendar isn't just a system. It's a symbol of pride, a reflection of who they are and where they come from. It's also an opportunity to tell the world, hey, we're unique, and here's how we mark time. The calendar is more than just a way of keeping track of birthdays. It's a daily reminder of Nepal's cultural significance in the grand tapestry of time. As we've seen, the Bikram Sambat calendar isn't just a tool for marking time. It's a living artifact reflecting the cultural, religious, and natural rhythms of Nepal. While the Gregorian calendar marks the passing of years based on the Earth's revolution around the sun, the Bikram Sambat is tied deeply to celestial cycles and nature's patterns, like the vernal equinox, the rainy season, and harvest times. So, let me ask you this. Did you know Nepal is 57 years ahead of the rest of the world? What do you think about their unique calendar? If you enjoyed this video, please leave us a like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel for more videos. Thanks for watching, and see you in our next video.